Good evening, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well tonight. Sorry, I just had a coughing fit. So what is cracking tonight? Well, first and foremost, while I'm waiting for people to join, let's see, where is it? Well, I had some questions, so I did get some information. I know she doesn't want to be talked about, but when you make bold statements and then they welcome Matthew, when you make public statements and then you run with it, they're going to get ran with. So anyways, you might know that Robin Rogers, who is Seth's mom, had made some statements basically just telling everybody to like chill out and stuff with the drama. And anyway, in that, she mentioned that Chris and Katie both passed their polygraphs and that Katie, passed like 2, I think it was. So that led me down a curious path of why was there more than one? You pass, like why are you getting polygraphed again? And I know that you could ask different questions, but so I wanted to get some answers on that. So here is what I've got. So several reasons why a polygraph test may be administered even if someone has passed the first test. It is possible that the results of the first test were inconclusive or raised further suspicions. Well, when you say someone passed it twice, I'm guessing one was not inconclusive because that's not passing, but that's my opinion. Another reason could be to ensure the accuracy and reliability of the initial results by conducting a follow-up examination. Additionally, in certain situations, multiple polygraph tests may be used as part of a comprehensive investigation or to gather additional information. Ultimately, the decision to administer a second polygraph test would depend on the specific circumstances and the discretion of the authorities conducting the test. So, because I just thought, why? But I know that, you could ask, while a polygraph test can be super long, that doesn't mean they're asking, questions for 3-4 hours. I mean, there's a lot of other work involved. There's a lot of conversation before you're hooked up to things. Then you're trying to get a baseline. And so you're asking, I don't know, I call them placebo questions, I guess. I don't know what they call them. That's what I'm calling them. So that's the little nugget on that. I want to say on the Nina subject, there has been no more information other than it appears this went on all day into the afternoon. I've tried to figure out what the silence could mean, which is probably a bad idea for me because I'm a feeler, as I like to say. So my mind just runs all over the place. Like, did it go bad? Was there a gag order? What could have been the reasons that we're not getting anything? And obviously she is under no obligation. Oh man. she is under no obligation to share that information with us. But I do want to share something. I've shared it quite a bit, and I talked about it, but I didn't exactly read it out loud to share it to anybody. So I had a little bit of a concern. And I discovered this prior to the hearing. And I'm hoping, definitely things that you find online, you can't just assume it's fact. So I'm not going to tell you it's a fact. I'm telling you I read information and it was concerning. So the judge that is handling the case in Albuquerque, New Mexico, on the custody issue, her name is Judge Deborah Ramirez. And everybody's got their own experiences. So I'm just going to read this. So there was a petition to remove her. And the person who started the petition said that she's known for abusing her power and violating New Mexico statutes in regards to child custody cases and placing children in unsafe situations. Help us to have her removed from her judicial seat as district court judge in the 2nd Judicial Branch Court. Okay. So then I go to the comments. You have a gentleman who said she failed to protect my sister from her SO father, her offending father. This cannot stand. She's a menace, knowingly sending helpless children back into the hands of the abuser. Special place in hell for this woman. She may think she can get away with this, but God will hold her accountable. In the meantime, she is putting children in harm's way. Please stop her. I'm not going to just go on and on that because you guys can look that stuff up. So, an unfortunate reality in this world is that when one parent is abusive or an alcoholic or has an addiction, unfortunately, the way the family courts are set up in most states, the bar is very high for somebody to lose custody of their children. And that has both positive and negatives because you don't want people who aren't doing anything wrong. Somebody just says something and then they lose their kids. We wouldn't want that either. But if you ever watched Nina's story, and then you've literally heard all of the words out of Chris's mouth, it's very difficult to not believe her. And so to bring that evidence forward to the court, and the judge think it was safe, would blow my mind. But as we've seen in so many cases, the courts aren't protecting our children. CPS is not protecting our children. Even parents aren't protecting their children. So I continue to hope that maybe they were just told not to talk about any of it. I hope. There's been a lot of the uproar about everything related to, the stuff that, was not Chloe didn't, share the information about Katie's family. That information came out before Chloe ever went on Web Sleuths. And my problem with that is if you grow up and you are not protected as a child, you would think your innate ability would be that if you have children someday, you might be overprotective. But that's not the case here because things have happened under the roof of the mother and the stepfather that were swept under the rug, and they're only coming out now. And while you don't need to continue to replay everything over and over again, when the stuff comes out, it's just telling you all the numerous times that this child, Sebastian, was failed. He was failed. He was failed because people didn't want to speak up. He was failed because people were intimidated. He was failed because he was exposed to a situation where he was harmed and he didn't receive help. He didn't receive treatment. He was allowed to remain in the home where that occurred. He was not nurtured, not given opportunities to socialize with youth, to socialize with kids that are also autistic, to forge those relationships. He was just failed, epically failed. He spent his days being yelled at for things he couldn't control, being yelled at for doing things that any teenager would do. He had a belt brought to him, and God only knows what else, because we know there had to be more. For who knows what? He was probably blamed every single chance they got because there's a risk they would lose faith because of him, even though it wasn't his fault. Who was telling him it's not your fault? It's not your fault. It's the fault of this jackwagon over here and his horrible behavior. That's why we're in a custody battle for your sister. We're not in a custody battle because of anything that happened to you when you were a child. We're not in a custody battle because you're autistic. Who helped him? And now we're in a situation where, you have people like me that are saying, okay, now who's going to help him now? Because now it's our last chance to help him. So Katie's motherly instinct has still not kicked in. She is still not saying, I'm going to find my baby, because most of us, and you don't know what you would do if you were in our shoes. I was. So yes, I do. Yes, I do. Okay. I am not an idiot. Okay. And so I do know that there is no way law enforcement could tell me not to search for my child. They would have to lock me up. I know what it feels like when law enforcement isn't doing enough and you have to do it yourself. I know. And nobody could stop me. No one. So the motherly instinct hasn't kicked in. Okay, the stepfather instinct was never there. It was never there. And I keep saying, who's looking? Who's looking? What is everybody doing? What is everybody doing? And I had a Facebook post earlier, about, you keep telling everybody to F off and that you don't want anybody's help. And guess what happens? Eventually people listen. Help goes away. So there are people that are out here that are actually wanting to help in any way they can. But you're more concerned with the soap opera effect of it, the ridiculousness effect of it, the who's fighting who and who's doodad is bigger than the other. But nobody wants the real help. I've made numerous attempts to find meaningful communication to share information. Nothing. And you could say, well, it's because, you're on YouTube and, they're just tired of all these creators. No, they're not. They're still feeding them plenty of content that is full of drama. But when you have people who really, really want to do the right thing, they don't want to respond. So as we go on in the coming days and probably weeks at this rate, because every day counts, okay? Because if he's out there hanging on by a thread, malnourished, possibly injured, every single moment counts, okay? If he's not in the wrong hands, every single moment counts until he falls in the wrong hands. And I will continue to trickle out, whatever I got. So, and I don't like doing that because if you broadcast the things, what if you're right? I've said this before. What if you're right and somebody knows Sebastian is in this particular location and I'm out here saying, go look there. Well, while everybody is not caring, somebody could move him, relocate him. Totally possible. It's been a really hard week. I've had more trolls. It's weird because I shouldn't take the bait. But I'm human. You just get somebody at the right or wrong time and it happens. And I take the bait sometimes. But I do just want to say that whether you're listening now or maybe you tune in later and you are one of those people and you would know who you are because I responded to you, that have put some of the most thoughtful, kindest comments out there. You couldn't imagine what that means to me. Because I am here because in my world, out of trauma, I am trying to birth something positive and take something that is sad and dark and turn it into something that is good. And so internally, that is a lot to do. So, it's flying by the seat of my pants. And so the things people have said are very reinforcing. And so I'm incredibly grateful because those people, your comments have really kept me going when I've just said, you know what, I'm not. I'm not, because you know what? Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Everybody just wants negative, 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 negative. And they just want to attack you no matter what you say. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. So I just want to say thank you, because I read them and they mean a ton. So I just want to put that out there. And if you have time, Sweet Tea with Don B. If there's time, I'll play it. It's not super long towards the end, but otherwise, if you can put, well, you could just type in Sweet Tea with Don B and you go to his most recent video. It was really good, and it really kind of started talking about, CPS and the failings, and we've talked about things like what is going on in the water in Tennessee. I mean, people are just turning up missing left and right. What's in the water? Nobody's monitoring these parents because they all need, like, what do they need? Like seatbelts and life jackets and bubble vests, and are they selling them off? What's going on there? So anyways, but what I wanted to first talk about was, in our Facebook, Sebastian Facebook group, I was kind of going off of, okay, let's look at some of our most common theories on what could have happened. And, I had shown in there, okay, let's go with the easiest one. Okay. What if he really wandered off, or if he were to maybe decided, hey, I'm going to run away, and they were like, well, okay, that's fine. And we're just not going to look for you anymore. We're just going to let you go, and we're just going to do whatever. And let's see here. Where am I in the group? Oh, I'm not in the group. I'm going to screen share here. So you guys can see what I'm seeing. Kim, Charlie, a local searcher in his kayak, was searching for Sebastian today and came back to his truck with a slashed tire. This is what I mean. What are people doing? I saw the the dog handler video as well. I'm well aware of what is going on out there, and that there are people, whether it's verbally or doing things like this that happened to Charlie, um, trying to hinder things. And I wish more people, and I'm not saying Charlie didn't, but I wish more people would report every single instance of this to Sumner County and TBI, and at least have like documentation of that it was reported every single time, because then people can maybe start looking and finding these people, chasing them down, figuring out, well, are they rooted with like a YouTube? Are they rooted with a podcast? Are they rooted to a family member? Where are these people coming from? What's their game? What's their game plan? Okay, so I'm gonna share. Okay. Did I? Okay. So, all right. So if you're unfamiliar, okay, the dot, that's where their home is, okay? So across from their subdivision, you have, I mean, it's thick. It is thick woods. And this is an area where you could search this 5 times over. You could still miss a person. You could still miss evidence. And just so you are aware about this, the dog handlers that were intimidated that came in from California, they're coming back. Okay. They're committed. They're coming back. So that's why we're talking about this, because they're going to come back. Okay. And they need to have a logical path. So if he wandered off, okay, and we want what the easiest, okay, let's just say he ran away, wandered off. Okay, he could have went across the way into these super thick, dense woods, okay? Then neighboring them, there is what appears to be a new construction subdivision over here, okay? It's quite possible that there are far more buildings here, okay? But there's also a pond, like retention pond here and here. And then all the way up, above to the north of it, again, more thick, dense woods. So those places would be really good places to bring the dogs. This intersection, New Hope, Long Hollow Pike, Drake's Creek, runs all along this. I would be all along it over and over. I would with the dogs. And I might play the dog handler video because the dog handler called into T-Rev's show. And so we can look at that. So this was so interesting to me. Look at this. What is this? So I looked at this up close and I thought to myself, if I was a teenager, I would climb up that pile. I would climb up it. I would think it was fun. I would think it was like a mountain. What is it? And then right to the what? That would be, is that northeast? Another pond. I do not know specifically which of the ponds nearby were drained. So that's in their neighborhood. Now, the other, where is it? Right here. Leaving that vicinity by a lot is T.O. Fuller State Park. Okay. And I'm going to show you this. Show you this. Okay. You guys reading this? Okay. For people following the case super close, if you can read that name, you know what I'm talking about. Okay. T.O. Fuller State Park. Okay. There's something else. Okay. And then we have this lake, and then we have the Mississippi, and you have the wastewater treatment plants, and oh, where are you? Okay. Who's smelling what I'm talking about here? Does anybody here understand what I'm showing you? I'm trying very hard, Green Eyes, and I wasn't going to do this, but now I have to do it this way because nobody, thinks it's worth having a conversation with me. So, um, unfortunately, I'm not trying to throw them up here on the screen and have them yell at each other all day. So, trying to do something useful, and then you can't get anybody to talk. So, there you go. But do you guys see the connection I'm making here? Does anybody see what I'm showing here? And why this would be of interest? And then let's see. So you've got work, this, and this. Okay. Yeah. And maybe maybe the other child that's involved here that needs to not be a victim, you know, along with, volunteers that are out there being threatened. And then if you want to get in here, okay, I mean, this is all woods, all woods, all woods. Something like this, not so far-fetched. Here's a place that they've already been to, if I understood correctly, but I recommend going again. Okay. Here's Hendersonville. Here's this. And I am fairly confident that I checked and they had been there, but they have been there before. Okay. I mean, they'd have to have a lot to get a wiretap. If that's what you mean, Rachel. I don't know if they, you know, but the two of them, they're in the same RV together. They're like on top of each other. Well, I mean, their phones, Seth, Chris, and Katie's phones were downloaded by law enforcement in the beginning. What all they pulled, I don't know yet. None of us do, and we may never know unless there was a trial. I've talked a lot about, wanting to know if they had steps and activity tracking enabled on their phones to show movements between 9 p.m. and 6 a.m. If the infotainment systems have been downloaded from the truck, her SUV, the work van. Were all of those vehicles accounted for? I pray the same thing, absolutely the same thing, T. Thomas. If anyone has ever been in a situation like Nina's, when you hear her, you know she is telling the truth, no matter what anybody else says. When you hear him talk, you know you've been there, you've heard it, you lived it. It's very triggering to listen to him. So, oh my gosh, was I not sharing the map the whole time, or was I? Help me out here. Tell me I was sharing my Google map the whole time. Please tell me I was sharing my Google map the whole time. Oh man, I wasn't, was I? Did you guys see the places I was pointing out on the map? Not my screenshots. Can someone confirm that? I was sharing the Google map. Okay. The hospital and the work and the campground. Okay. All right. Good. I'm not losing my mind. Okay. Because I just wanted to stop sharing, and it said I was sharing the Facebook page still. So I was a little panicked. CP married VB. They lived in Norfolk. Wonder what happened. VB. I don't know who that is. Who is that? October, if you can tell me who that is. That lived in Norfolk. Oh, okay. I did not know her last name. Let me just say this. If Rachel, Stephanie, Vanessa, ever see this, if you ever see this video, if you can do anything big and tremendous in your life that will make a huge, huge difference, it would be to reach out to Nina right now and support her in any way you possibly can. I would just, I can't, I know it would be hard and it would be difficult and it would be the last thing on the planet that you would maybe want to reopen a wound. But if you're in a place in your healing that you could, please, please do, because she is going through so much right now, and she is probably in a very scared, dark place. And she needs, I swear, I swear, I wish we could just shower her with like legal fund money, but it sounds like she does have a good attorney. But if what I read about that judge is true, it's so concerning, so concerning. Um, Interesting, Kim. Very interesting. Yeah, I'm gonna put my email in the chat. Um, Look, I'm not bougie. If you guys got stuff you want me to take a look at and you just think it's stupid or it's not a big deal, send it to me. I will read it. I will respond to you. Like I just this is a team effort to figure this stuff out. And I'm hoping to take this video and share it directly to the canine handlers because I want to get it to somebody and I have a feeling that they would be responsive and I know exactly how to find them. So that is not going to be a problem. Um, Let me find the correct video here. It has been okay. So to give video credit to video credit to video credit, here's what we're doing. So the dog handler voluntarily just decided to call in to T-Rev's call-in show. So, but because I'm using Jay's clip because it was a very specific, much shorter clip. So we don't have to go through, a 3-4 hour live stream to find it. So I am going to play that because I think that there are a lot of you guys that maybe have not um, heard it. Let me see. Okay. So if you've already listened to it, I apologize, but not everybody here has heard it. So I'm playing the when the dog handler calls in to T-Rev to explain the truth about the experience and kind of stop the misinformation that was put out there by Chris on what really happened with the dog when they came with the dogs. So I'm going to play this so that everybody gets an opportunity. I'm going to mute myself so you don't hear me and let it play. And if for some reason there's any issue with the audio, please say something in chat sooner rather than later, okay? No, Carl, not going to do that. I don't know if you mean, are you talking about Seth Rogers or are you talking about Sebastian Rogers? Why is there so much love for Sebastian? Because he's an amazing light in our world and he deserves to be found. So that's the answer to that. And if you're trying to maybe say that I'm in favor of Seth or whatever, I'm absolutely in favor of finding Sebastian. And the reality is, I don't know any of the adults in this situation on a personal level enough to say what I feel about them. I know that he's looking and they're not. So, of course, that will make me favor him a little bit more. But I don't know what he has done in his life, anything to that degree. But the point is Sebastian. It's not Seth. It's not Chris. It's not Katie. But unfortunately, you have to go to those places with all of those people to get the answers. And the main person with the answers doesn't want to talk. So that's all I got on that. I'm not going to go down that road a whole lot more. Yep, not doing it. Let's see. Okay. Here we go.
Yes, ma'am, it is. How are you doing tonight?
You.
Talking to you.
I am the second dog handler from California who chartered the plane to take my bloodhounds over there.
Oh God, I'm glad you got through. So you're actually one of the dog handlers?
Yes, who went down there.
That's awesome.
And I'm not trying to make my way around other creators or anything like that, but I just really want people to know that there are good people in this world who are willing to help out, and we were turned away. We have credentials, and in case you've heard or not, we have been in law enforcement. My husband has actually, and our canines are operations specialists, and they were trained by a 30-year career, public service handler, who deals with the fields of education, law enforcement, criminal justice and education, for forensics and emergency management and all that. So we have credentials like nobody's business. So we decided, yes, to take our dogs down there. My husband heard about this case. He wanted to help. Again, I don't know where people think that we maybe have money or don't we, because we were able to charter a plane. Planes are not that expensive to charter. They are to a certain extent, but we were not going to put 4 bloodhounds in a cage to be put in cargo. You know what happens to dogs who go into cargo. Some of them don't make it. So we did go down there, and we were turned away. We did get a scent. We had our drones, we had everything, and I'm sure my video with Jay has been spread all over the universe, and I really, don't mind whoever says what they need to say. All I know is what was in my heart and my husband's heart and what we want to do. And if people want to tear it apart, that's fine. That's up to them. But if you're going to sit there and do that, then maybe you should go out there and do something yourself. Because we are serious about this. We would not have taken time.
Okay, a lot of people might not know what is going on here. I am fairly confident that we have the privilege and honor of having Mr. Proudfoot under a false name in our chat right now. So, if everybody wants to welcome him, give him a friendly welcome. I am definitely not going to boot him out because I think I should be honored to be part of his terabytes of data. So we welcome you, Mr. Proudfoot. I am so grateful that you have the time to be here and not be out with your wife looking for her son. I am guessing that you tuned in because there's maybe some valuable information, or maybe, just maybe you think we might be onto something here. Well, guess what? We are, and we will find our answers, and we are coming. We are not going anywhere. because we will find Sebastian. No matter what you say, no matter how many prank calls you make, no matter how many chats you troll, we will always be right there. Oh, are you looking for proof, evidence to make it crystal clear to us? I have terabytes of data, sir. Terabytes. So you came to the wrong channel because we're not stopping and we are on your ass. Something isn't right here, and I believe you and your wife know exactly what's going on, and we are not going to stop until we get the answers from you and your wife. So if you decide you would like to chat about the whereabouts of Sebastian Rogers, you are welcome to do so here. Otherwise, fuck off.
Off from work, gone down there, done what we needed to do. We did not go on anybody's property. We did not go on Chris's property. So that needs to be cleared up as well. We would never do that. We know better. Again, my husband is in law enforcement. We know our boundaries and limitations. I was very emotional because I had it. I literally like broke down because that's how I felt. And I still feel that way.
Shout out to you guys too, by the way. Shout out to both of you.
Julia's amazing. We try to do our best. I do plan on going out there again. No one's going to stop me, especially if we are not on private property, and nobody is going to scare us away. We shouldn't say that we were scared away, but we wanted to do the right thing.
Were you threatened?
And we were threatened, and we were followed. We were followed even back to our hotel.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Did you take their license plate?
We could. It was late at night.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I let my husband handle all of that, and he did turn what we had into law enforcement, which unfortunately I cannot say.
And that's fine.
Or disclose what we went through and everything like that, mm-hmm. and who we found and stuff like that. But for other creators who are down there trying to help out and everything, and them saying they were followed and people maybe not believing them. It is true, because we were followed and we were just trying to do the right thing. And it's sad because our dogs, we're flowing all the way over there to help out. And, again, we have 4 bloodhounds. And, they have, we spent over $60,000 in training. And the qualifications here in California are very rigorous. The training is very rigorous. They go through scent discrimination assessments, mm-hmm. location, check assessments. They go through comprehensive trailing assessments. They go through scent collection, dismissal. They go through a lot of things. So it's not easy, not only training 1, but training 4. So their canine handler certification registrations, they're up to date. We submitted them to law enforcement. We were cleared. And Chris came around. We were nowhere. Again, we were not on his property. We were not on his property, and we did not leave for fear of anything that was going to happen to us.
Right.
We feared of anything that was going to be done to our dogs, because these dogs have found bodies in lakes,
wow,
parks, rivers over here in Southern California.
Right.
And you know, they even if the dog is blind, they can still do their job as far as bloodhounds go. I don't know about other dogs.
Now, what did you guys use for scent? Were you guys able to get any sense at all when you were down there? I don't know if you could speak on that, obviously, but I don't know.
Well, here's the thing: is with bloodhounds, they're trained very differently. We had a piece of clothing, but also the bloodhounds are able to sniff. Like if you step foot on the outside of a like when he took the trash out, which was a big clue for us. We took the dog, which was, you know, when you take your trash out on the street, it is considered abandonment when you take your trash out. So that's why people can go through your trash and they cannot be, you know, prosecuted or anything like that, because anything you put outside of your home is considered abandonment. That is how the Idaho 4, what's his name, Koberger got caught. And that's why they were able to get stuff out of the trash can, because it's considered abandonment. So the dog, whether whether he was barefoot or whether he had socks on, they're able to lift that scent off of the curb or the sidewalk. And that's what a lot of people do not understand, is it doesn't always necessarily have to be a piece of clothing or anything like that. The bloodhounds are so tailored to a certain specific scent that, had it not rained or anything like that, they can pick up the scent. They went in a whole different direction.
Wow.
They picked up the scent and they went crazy.
Damn.
And that was outside of the home.
Wow.
That had nothing to do with clothing or anything like that. And people can take this and run with it and say whatever it is they say. It's the internet. But, you know, I am just trying to make things clear and to understand that there are people out there like us who are willing to go from a different state and help look. I knew nothing about this case. My husband is the one who found it. Came across it, stumbled upon it from people at work. I think people think that I had said, you know, he's a private investigator. He is not. I think, you know, of like RICO charges, drug, you know, the cartels and stuff like that. That's what my husband deals with, is these racketeering charges.
And shout out to y'all for, you know, bringing that type of experience out there to just even help. I mean, that's so awesome and inspirational for both you and your husband.
Thank you. And I know you've been covering this. I haven't seen a lot of, you know, things because I work, I'm busy. I have other things to do. And my husband found out about this and he's like, you know what, let's go. It's worth a shot. Let's go. We spend money on stupid things, vacations and everything. You know, let's go. This boy, it's become national to where it came all the way to California. We downloaded flyers, we paid for them, we put them up in Walmart, Target, you know, the malls around here, the parks, the river banks, where the tow companies are, because we own a tow company as well. So we put all those out. Every place where, you know, like I said, we own a software company. All of the people that we develop software for security department or for security companies and police departments. So we were allowed to give them flyers to pass out So when they go on their nightly patrols, or the police officers down here, and we pass them out in Newport Beach and Huntington Beach, so that, because you never know where this kid could be. You never know.
Such a good point.
Where he could be.
And that's the thing. I mean, so you said you guys, the dogs went crazy over a scent out by the home?
Out by the home. They didn't go crazy. They I think that when you're a dog handler and you understand the type of dog that you have, and you can pick up on the reaction that they give, it's hard to explain, but it is also something that you recognize when you are with these dogs, for so long, and they've had so much training. And when they smell something, again, there's, I don't know, people, it's so hard. Like, I could sit here for an hour and explain, the difference between a bloodhound, a German Shepherd, and other types of dogs. The fact that Chris said it was like a 25% chance, you know what? That's BS. That's his. I'm not going to sit here and bash Chris. He can say whatever he wants to say and believe what he wants to believe. But where are his credentials for canine, for being a canine handler? I'm
just going to pause it for a second, because this is around the time when I was watching chat scroll through, and Chris Proudfoot shows up, says, "Don't you effing step on my property, or don't come near me. Don't come on my property again," or something. He threatens her. And I chime in and say, "Chris is in the chat." And then everybody starts, "Oh, Chris is in the chat. He's a troll. It's not Chris."
Oh, what are the odds that part comes up at this exact moment about him being in chat? So, moving on, stopping the madness, refocusing back to the drawing board. So the positive of that situation is the fact that the canine people are coming back is really great news. And I am hoping to get my suggestions to the canine handlers. I believe I do have the correct contact information for them, so I will be getting them the locations of interest, which are beyond what I've shared. So those are the people that have the actual dogs, and so at this point, they're the ones that can help. I have reached out to Q to find out if they can verify if they will be coming. I still do not have a response from Q, and I have also reached out to EquiSearch to find out what the status is on that. And I have shared my recommendations with all pertinent people regarding bringing in weight. We are the essentials. Look, I can't, I don't know who law enforcement's boss is. I mean, the next boss, maybe, which is why these resources are desperately needed, because one parent can't do it, and a handful of volunteers isn't going to be enough. And we need the equipment and the technology. We need the drones, the GPR, the dogs, everything. We need it all. So the more resources, the better. And hopefully resources that are not, easily shaken or intimidated, like some of the others have been from, intimidated by words. We see the game. We see the game. It's crystal clear. It's crystal clear. The game is throw up distractions, and people will get so wrapped up in everything that is irrelevant that they will stop looking. The game is, let's intimidate all the people for, oh, wouldn't you like that answer? But you're not going to get it. Yeah, I'm talking to the chat. So, we need divers and manpower and more people within the state and the surrounding areas of Mississippi, Tennessee, Arkansas to cross the borders if they need to participate in the searches, and grab your boots, grab your gloves, and do what you can. And in the meantime, taking the flyers, and one of my thoughts that I had suggested was to add additional information with a flyer, like a second sheet that had other information in the event there are businesses anywhere from Mississippi to the border of Arkansas and Tennessee and all of that might be in a position where they have larger scale servers that they back up their surveillance footage to, where it might still be around right now. And so maybe they might not have picked up on a teenage boy walking, walking, but that doesn't mean that they don't have footage of something else that might be very helpful. Oh, awesome. The handler is in this chat. That is wonderful. And welcome. And I don't think you're fake at all. I think anybody that is willing to put their feet on the ground and help find him is a lifesaver, a miracle. I would, even if you were not credentialed and you chose to help, there are people out there that are super talented at what they do and maybe don't have certain credentials or things behind them. And it does not mean that you don't add value. There are people that volunteer and do search and rescue that are not certified per se by SAR, 4SAR, but that does not mean that they are any less valuable. So let's get that straight. Any human being that is willing to lend a hand to help the family of a missing child is a saint, in my opinion. And we welcome it. And there is strength and support and determination. And the naysayers who are saying fake, negative, do not be discouraged. Do not be discouraged. You don't need anyone to validate you. You are doing the right thing. You're doing the right thing. To hell with what anybody says. There are so many creators out there where all that they want to do is make more content off the nasty, vicious stuff. So to hell with them. You are there to help. And all that matters is you believe in you believe in what you're doing, and your goal is to find Sebastian. That's what matters. Keep your eye on the prize. That's Sebastian. That's why we're here. We are not here to make everybody else like us or feel better about or look for their approval. That's the reality. And so I'm going to put my email address in the chat again. And if you want to email me, I have some locations that I think are very realistic possibilities to search. And even if you're not able to obviously get to them all, if you can make sure that maybe the family, Chloe, gets this information, I would really, really appreciate it. And I will get it to you. Because this is what we're here for. At least this is what I'm here for. There might, there are people that will jump, off and they're, need something more flashy, and that's cool beans. There are people who are just, avid lovers of, the true crime world, and that's cool. But right now we're losing so much time trying to find Sebastian. And if he is alive out there, he could be in serious trouble. He, could really need medical attention, could be malnourished, dehydrated. I mean, regarding the van, maybe I missed the question about the van. Annie, if you would like to ask your question again. You know what, Julia? It's a shame. It is a shame that for the attention, for money, or to steer people off the right path, that people are going to do those things. But your reputation will not be tarnished by this. You still show up, because this is what happens is people get beat down before they even set foot on the ground. And so just know that you're in a safe space. I believe you. I'm not going to I'm not going to say what I'm saying now and then do another video tomorrow and contradict what I said today. I can assure you of that. And shame on anybody who is attacking people who are trying to help. And the people that are, their goal is different. And you need to open your eyes and see that people are trying to steer everybody in the wrong direction intentionally. So stop. Just stop. We're not putting any nasty That's not what we do here. There is no nastiness. We are not going to sit and do this. Anybody that wants to help is going to help. I'm not like all those other ones. I am not going to spread your message and then talk bad about you. So the positive thing that you're doing is not lost on me. The best advice I can give you is do everything you can to shut out the noise, keep his picture near you, and anytime somebody tries to change change your way of thinking, just look at his picture and remember what you're doing. That's what you're here for. I know what's being said. I do. Yes, I know what is being said, and I'm not going to address it. I'm not going to address it. Abusers like to do this, baiting, and we're not going to do it. And you're not going to be intimidated either. You get on that plane, you come, you do what you're meant to do with your God-given gift, and to hell with the rest of them. I am trying to just check. I had, let me see, did I send it to my email? And see if I had the neighbor. Oh, I got the wedding announcement. How sweet. Oh, what a sailor. What a sailor he was. How adorable. Wait a minute. Interesting. Interesting. Thank you for that email, October. I appreciate it. I will say at some point here, there has to be a reason to hold. There has to be some way that at a point, law enforcement has to be held accountable for what is going on. As we have repeatedly talked about when we parallel this with the Elijah Vu case, the fact that the search was called off so quickly, let's see. March 4th, search scaled back. After a week of searching, authorities announced that they were scaling back the ground search for Sebastian and transitioning to an investigation. February 26th to March 4th. Why? I get that, Vivian, but why can't they do both? Two Rivers has a population of 10,000 and they can manage to do both. That's what I don't get. How do you scale back a search 4, 5, 6, a week later? I don't understand it. You have an autistic missing teenager and you scaled back your search after a week? I don't understand it. It makes zero sense. I was going through this timeline, okay? Okay, last known proof of life, February 25th. Because contrary to many people's comments, there was no sightings or proof of life on February 26th. Around 6:20 was when, on February 26th, was when Chris called Sumner County to report him missing. We don't have concrete verification as to which line he called. Per the sheriff's website, the regular office hours are 8 to 4:30. However, they do have a 24-hour ECC non-emergency line. Was that the phone number that was called? If so, I would imagine these calls are recorded. He could have also called an individual within the sheriff's department. We are still unclear. Because if somebody had told me, oh, wait, was that at the neighbor's post? Oh, where's the neighbor's post? Where it did actually talk about, okay. Yes. Let's make Chris happy really quick. So let me just add the disclaimer. Everything here is pure speculation. Do your own research, come to your own conclusions. Everything we say is not with 100% certainty. Everyone is innocent unless proven guilty in a court of law. Okay. So a neighbor wrote this, allegedly. I am a neighbor. I would like to protect myself and my family. Our neighborhood has been through a lot since Sebastian was reported missing. Neighbors being harassed. I do not want to create more drama. However, I do think it is important to correct misinformation that is being said. I need to set the record straight on something that I keep hearing over and over again that is about to make me scream. The BS that Chris said he called SCSO, that would be Sumner County Sheriff's Office, instead of 911 because of where we live is just that. It's absolutely ridiculous. He claims that because we live in the county and not in the city limits, it's easier to call the sheriff's office so he wouldn't get transferred all over the place. You cannot reach an emergency personnel through the Sumner County Sheriff Office phone number. It tells you on the automated system that if you have an emergency, you must hang up and dial 911. Okay. Sometimes the dog barking the loudest could be guilty. Just saying. Facts, Carl. Facts. Honestly, for once, truth. Interesting. Okay. Let's see. You must hang up and dial 911. The only person you will get if you stay on the line waiting for someone to pick up is a non-emergency dispatcher. If that dispatcher finds out you are calling for an emergency, that dispatcher will tell you to hang up and dial 911, or they will transfer you to 911 emergency dispatch. If he is saying he did not want to waste time being transferred, that's exactly what would happen. They transfer you or ask you to hang up and dial 911 so an emergency dispatcher can receive your call and dispatch emergency personnel that is closest to you at that point. The fastest approach would have been for her to call 911 as soon as she realized Sebastian was gone. I have had to call 911 after hitting a deer. It literally took 5 to 8 minutes for emergency personnel to get to me. I've had to call the non-emergency line. You cannot reach 911 or emergency services through that number. If something were to ever happen to my kids, God, I pray that never happens, I would call my husband first to let him know. That I know for a fact he would tell me to hang up and call 911. Even if I were hysterical because I'm the one in the area and they can trace my call directly to my house if I am unable to talk. This frustrates me so much that he is lying about this phone call. Now, it's alleged. I did not go to this neighbor's house, knock on their door, ask them if they live there. If in fact they've ever called 911 or the non-emergency number. I am just telling you because everybody, yeah. Nope, an autistic teen missing for a couple hours is not an emergency. A kid that's there every single morning at 6 a.m. when you wake them up for school, not being there is not an emergency. Anywho, it's just beyond the pale to me that there are actual human beings out there that are so cold and so heartless that have nothing better to do than when people are trying to be constructive to figure out how to help a family who has a missing child than to comment with their negativity. Even if you're not Mr. Proudfoot and some of the others I've seen. I'm not forcing you to be here. I'm not holding you hostage here. Not at all. You don't have to be here. If you don't like what I'm doing, you don't have to be here. And frankly, I don't want you here because you're not helping. You're not doing anything helpful. All you're doing is trying to incite people. You are trying to incite drama when there was a healthy subject matter and conversation and dialogue happening, and it's nasty, and it's repeatedly, why did you say this? Because you're dragging this one through the mud or that one through the mud. It's like, why, what do you got? I mean, you nothing better to do with your day? Nothing? Seriously? Like, get a life. I mean, or call one of these other people that you like to call with all your bullshit, because they'll listen. They will give you well, let me tell you this, Mr. Ferguson. If my son wasn't home for a couple hours when they're normally home, would I call that an emergency? Yes. Yes. We know our children's habits. If you have a teen who is chronically late for curfew every night, and they're supposed to be home by 10 and they're home at 11:30, 12 o'clock. Sometimes they push the limit to 1. Is that an emergency? It's probably not an emergency. Does it make most parents, most healthy parents nervous, stressed, worried, concerned? Absolutely. Most parents, not the abusive kind, but most parents, the reason that they bite their kid's head off when they come in after being gone on curfew, being late for curfew, is because it's the fear. It's the fear that that parent sat for an hour or 2 hours wondering if their kid got in a car accident or was in the car with someone who was a drunk driver, who, somebody's getting, taken advantage of. A million things run through your mind of a healthy parent. But if you have an understanding of the patterns of your teenager and for example, my own teenager who is the same age as Sebastian, if he was not in his room at 6 a.m., I would lose my mind. Absolutely lose my mind. That's not normal. That is not the pattern. But maybe that's the problem. Not enough paying attention to what's going on with our kids, what our kids are doing, what our kids are feeling, how the things that we do affect our children. Because none of us are perfect parents at all. Anybody who is a parent can attest to the fact that it is like watching a reel going over and over and over of all of your successes and failures. Because every single day, most days, most good parents feel like they have failed. Because it is the hardest thing in the world to do, but it's the most amazing thing in the world to do. But aside from love, we have a duty and a responsibility. And that duty and responsibility is to make sure that we do everything in our power to keep our kids safe. We will fail. But does the pattern keep repeating is the thing. We all fail our kids. But if you're habitually failing your kids in big, big ways where CPS is showing up at your door and you're calling that your child a liar because they told on you, we got problems. We got bigger problems. We do. Because yes, tomorrow is Mother's Day. Actually, in my time, 38 minutes away, and it's Mother's Day. And I have been reflecting on motherhood, and I have been reflecting on the beautiful children that have been unalived, sold, tossed out, and God only knows what. And all of the women out there who want children so much and they can't have them. And then there's other people who just treat them like yesterday's garbage. We all fail. We all fail every single day. And the fact that we acknowledge or even feel for a moment that we're not good enough as a parent makes us a better parent. That's reality. That is reality. And Our children deserve to know that when they walk in the door, they will be safe, that we will protect them, that we will fight for them, and that if a bad guy comes or a bad person comes and ever tries to do anything to them, that we will do whatever it takes to help them, to find them, not sit our happy ass in an RV in a Yogi Bear campground on the Mississippi, drinking wine coolers, drinking beer, barbecuing, while this poor young man is either deceased or starving or hurt. So I don't need to know if Katie ever laid a finger on her child. I know she doesn't deserve her child if she can sit in an RV camper eating freaking barbecue, drinking wine coolers with her loudmouth abusive husband while her son could be God only knows where. And yes, I am passing that judgment. I think it's a shitty thing to do. I think it's a shitty person to do that. And I think if you had a trauma in your childhood like she did, she would go 20 times harder to protect her child. But guess what? That didn't happen. I could sit here all day and talk about the number of times this poor kid was failed in his short 15 years. So your little smart ass comments, I got something for that. Yes, I know that when you call 911 to report a teenager missing, they act like it's not a big deal. And that's why we have dead teenagers, because people act like it's not a big deal. You'd be very shocked that you can call. Yes, let me tell you something. You can be really shocked to learn that you can report a toddler missing and they will act like they don't give a shit. They will tell you to calm down. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. I'm sure it's not a big deal. Really? Did the toddler jump in a car, start the engine, and just drive off because they weren't happy at home? That's another failure. Yes, I could keep going. The police fail the kids. CPS fails the kids. The abusers fail the kids. The men and women who allow the abuse and don't speak up fail the kids. Schools fail kids. Pastors fail kids. The failures go on and on and on. And this is what is wrong with our world right now. Nothing's a big deal. Nothing's a big deal. Why focus on this young man when there's thousands of other children out there that are missing? Exactly. Because people are just getting so far away from anything, any sort of decency in this world. It's disgusting. It's just disgusting. They don't care how they talk to people, how they treat one another. Everything's out the window. It's disgusting. They don't care if they're selling meth. They don't care if their kids are living and sleeping on, the floor or piles of clothes and filth and whatever. They don't care. Nobody speaks up when they see something. It's disgusting. It makes me sick, makes me physically ill. It does. And I have a lot of shortcomings. I am far from perfect. And everybody does, because we're all imperfect. It's just, do you show up when it matters? Do you show up? How do you show up? And I don't know Sebastian, but I will do what I can to show up. There are others like me that will do what they can to show up in the best way that they can, in the best way that they know how. Because that's all we can do, especially when the one who gave him life is sitting in an RV while her husband trolls the internet, doing whatever they want, just waiting till everybody calms down so they can run off into the sunset to God only knows where, and just forgets about Sebastian. Think about it. Remember what's really going on here, what the distractions are. Remember it. Look at Sebastian's face. Don't look at that asshole's face. Don't. You don't have to listen. I can barely even stand. I can't even stand his voice. And the other one doesn't talk because she's not a good liar. She's not a good liar. And the truth would just seep out all over the internet. So I'm not going to keep going on because I was trying to be productive, and this is exactly why I said I didn't want to have to do this way. But when the people that can communicate with you don't respond, then you have to go this route. And then you're putting stuff out there you don't want out there. This is what I didn't want. So I just beg of you to get on that plane, bring your dogs. Do not be intimidated. If you're out there and you're divers, come back. Just delete the freaking YouTube app if you have to. Whatever you got to do to keep your sanity and keep your focus on Sebastian, that's what you got to do. Because there's so many of us that wish we had the wherewithal or the tools or the capability to be all over there, but not everybody can. So the ones that can, you just have to be strong and block out the noise. Well, Samantha, I hope you're right. I hope you're right. I really do. But I have two dear classmates of mine, and that's what was said about them. And now it's an afterthought, the Lifetime movie, what is 20 years old or whatever, people forget about it. And they move on to the next more sensational story. And to be honest, there's times where I feel guilty about the time that I do dedicate to this when I'm so concerned about Elijah Vu. I'm so concerned. And but the hope is that, there's just so much more effort in one than the other. But I, don't want to enter my Mother's Day at midnight in a bad mood. So, I'm going to just end it like this. Continue to do everything you can, whether it's sharing the pictures, repeating his name. And I am going to work on an attachment to go with the original flyer. That's going to have additional information in hopes that maybe they didn't see Sebastian, but maybe they saw other things that might be very helpful to the investigation. And once that is ready, I will be happy to share that with anybody who decides they want it. Some in business have databases of people where they could shoot off a mass email, might use constant contact, something like that, that could send it out on a mass scale, and that would be extremely valuable as well. So in the meantime, I want to thank those of you who did tune in, and unfortunately, I got a little sidetracked and we were really focused. But in the meantime, if you want to do something for me, maybe just don't continue the fear mongering or the rumors or anything that would in any way, shape, deter any helpers from coming. Don't be part of it, please. We just can't. We have to control this situation, and we cannot let this sabotage plan work or go forward. So I want to wish all of those amazing women out there a very, very happy Mother's Day tomorrow. I will not be on here tomorrow because I'm going to enjoy my beautiful children and be thankful that I have my children with me. And I hope that all of you do the same, because in the end, we need to think about these situations when they come on and remember the blessings that we have in our lives, whether it's our children, those that don't have children. I mean, we can all relate. I mean, there's many of us who, we're without children at one point as well. Just be grateful, whether it's you're grateful for your amazing animals, your spouse, an awesome friend, a coworker, maybe it's just an outlet that you might have. So if you're not an actual mom, maybe you can just adopt for the day, adopt some of these kids who were failed by their moms, say a prayer for them, have good thoughts for them, and maybe just think about maybe, just good thoughts for these kids. Okay. That's what we can do. And a little bit of self-care and a reset after all this drama. We all need a reset. You got to take a break from it. You can't just take it in 24/7. It will drive you into the ground. So I hope everybody enjoys their Sunday and get some rest and relaxation. Dolores, that is amazing. That is just a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful gift. Not to make it dark, like tying it into true crime in it or anything, but I said when Adam Montgomery was sentenced the other day, everybody that spoke, I will tell you, the foster mom of Harmony Montgomery, when she spoke, I mean, I have goosebumps right now, just goosebumps. And the love she had, the things she saw in that child. I say it all the time, it takes a lot of living to get to a place. And I share this with my youngest and my oldest, where you realize that family is not just the blood related family, and sometimes, yes, like T, you have two living with you. I mean, there are amazing people who just help when they can, or they have a kid and your kid's friend, what's going on in their house, and you just make sure your door is open so that kid has a safe place to go whenever you can, because it's just heartbreaking. It is heartbreaking knowing what is going on in homes, and you got parents that are on meth, kids aren't being taken care of, all sorts of awful things going on, and they look to mentors. They look to, and we have to try to be positive influences for those kids, so that they do have a safe place to go if something really bad is brewing, or if they have to run, they have a safe place to run. So I really just think, you don't have to be a mom to touch the life of a child. I think we know that because we have amazing teachers and mentors and all sorts of stuff out there. So, we just do what we can because they can't do it for themselves. So we're supposed to do it. Yeah, you're an ass. Oh my God. All right, guys. Oh, good Lord. He is something else, man. All right, I'm done. Thank you. All 36 of you that are watching right now. I appreciate each and every one of you. Each and every one of you. So please have a wonderful day tomorrow. Say your prayers. Send out your good energy, whatever is important to you, and appreciate what you have, and have a great night.